Hey, it's before they invest in our solution, they wanted to see if the FlexArm could truly help speed up their operations. So to demonstrate the capability, we tapped their part using an A-32 tap and paired it with our operations, and you're ready to start flexing on your competition. Give us a call at 1-800-837-2503.
All right, everybody, today we're going to go over the helicoil tapping arm. I'm going to show you guys a demonstration and a little bit about what makes this arm such a great unit. We'll start with the assembled arm here. So you'll see we have our 1500 RPM helicoil motor, our filtered lubricator with the built-in regulator. That way I can dial my PSI for my front end assembly depending on the size helicoil that I'm going to be running. So you'll see these arms are nicely equipped with a roll that we can put right on the arm, and we put the helicoils in a strip feed here so that we can do fast, easy helicoil insertion for any of your thread repair. All right, so starting with the motor, you'll see this is the helicoil motor, 1500 RPM motor that we use for driving the helicoils. Each motor comes with a small adapter, or a large adapter, or a small adapter. So these adapters are used as bridges for different sizes of front end assemblies. So in this case, for the large, or for the small adapter, we're going anywhere from, this is for the 256 to 1/4 inch front end assembly. And then this is our large adapter for 5/16 to 1/2 inch. And this adapter goes onto the motor, and this is what is used to bridge the motor and the front end assembly. Everything's left-handed thread, so we put that on, and now the motor's ready to receive a front end assembly. The other component I'll show you, it's a friction clutch. So the friction clutch is used for our small adapter for your small helicoils. So anything from 256 to 440 is what I'm going to use or recommend the friction clutch for. In the small adapter, we pull out the stock insert and we put in the friction clutch, and this is just really going to help us with those smaller holes to limit the torque and stop us from damaging our front end assembly or the threads that we're repairing. So next you'll see this is an example of a front end assembly. This is a 3/8/16 front end assembly. This is our nozzle, this is the mandrel, and each one comes with a bag of cushions and spacers. So we use the cushion goes into the large adapter, and it helps cushion your mandrel, your driver, and then different spacers here for setting my depth. So that way, another advantage with the arm is you can set the depth. So that way I can drive the helicoil to the proper depth every single time. And I'm setting that here with these spacers, and I'm putting it on my mandrel. So I'll put one of these on here as an example. And we'd place one of our cushions inside the large adapter here. And we place the front assembly on. And again, left-handed threads, and that's about it. So now we're ready. So today, what I'll show you, I've got my arm set up here to drive quarter 20 helicoils on this strip feed, and we've got a nice aluminum piece here ready to place those. This is a blind hole. We're going to drive them to the bottom. Depth's already set. Automatically revert. So it automatically drives it to the depth and then automatically reverses. So you'll hear the motor has a hissing. That's normal. It's designed that way. First things first, I'm going to set my pressure here. So something to note is every front end assembly has a desired PSI to set your air pressure correctly for the helicoil. So in this case, it's set for 45 PSI. So I'm going to take my regulator, I'm going to adjust my pressure, set it to 45, lock it in, and now we're ready to drive the helicoil. So I have everything set up here on the strip feed knob. So I'm just going to simply line the arm up over the hole. I'm not going to fight it. I'm going to let it do the work. So we'll drive it on down. automatically reversed. Now we have a perfectly placed helicoil. And that's all I have for today. If you need more information on our helicoil FlexArm, give us a call or shoot us an email. You can visit our website at flexmachinetools.com or 800-837-2503. And we look forward to helping you out with your next thread repair job. Thank you.
Hey guys, it's Tyler here from FlexArm. We recently had a prospect reach out to us looking for a better tapping solution. National Enclosure Company out of Michigan is a nationally ranked advanced facade contractor, and they were looking for an efficient way to tap the end of an aluminum extrusion. They're currently outsourcing these parts or tapping them in-house with a hand drill. The problem with outsourcing is that they have no control over the quality or consistency of their parts, and their volume is way too high to continue the slow process of tapping with a hand drill. I told them to send some parts in and we could run a tap test on the FlexArm. The extrusion needs 2 inches of total thread depth and needs to accept a set screw in the end, so we fixtured the part horizontally and decided to go with the GHM-45 Hydraulic unit. This has the multi-positional head which will allow the operator to tap horizontally and easily reach their desired thread depth. One issue that we ran into in this tap test was chip evacuation. The end user supplied us with a straight flute pulley tap, but due to this horizontal positioning, the chips had nowhere to go. We swapped the tap with a 3-flute spiral point tap, which helped us pull the chips out of the part. The tap test was a success, and the FlexArm had no problem tapping the part to the correct depth. So if you're experiencing any similar problems or just looking for a better way to speed up your tapping process, go ahead and give us a call at 1-800-837-2503.
You like what you see? Now what if I told you you didn't have to own a FlexArm to enjoy one of our carts or tables? Now, even though they're primarily made for tapping, let's see what else they can do. You can also use it as a mobile workbench. The 200 tapped holes make fixturing a breeze. You can use it to haul raw materials. You can use it to haul finished parts. Use it at your next cocktail party. Use it for an arm wrestling table. You can even use it to haul your trash and recycling. Really? And with a weight capacity of up to 1,000 pounds, you can haul whatever your heart desires. Need a place to put your TV? FlexArm mobile cart. Need a dining table for your date night in?
Wait, this isn't a table?
FlexArm mobile cart. Trying to hide from your pesky boss? FlexArm mobile cart. And they're so durable, you'll even be able to pass it off to your grandson. And just in case you need something a little bigger than our mobile carts, check out our line of coolant troughs and tables that are just as versatile. What's up everybody, this is Eddie from FlexArm, and thank you so much for joining us for our live tapping demo with our good friends OSG. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be giving an awesome demonstrations on our hydraulic as well as our pneumatic arms. We're going to be tapping vertical and we're going horizontal. So we're really excited to get this done for you today. But before we get started, wanted to set a quick reminder that on this side of the screen, you will see there is a chat box, and we want to ensure that this is interactive and engaging demo as possible, so please feel free to put any questions that you may have in that section, and either myself will answer the questions in real time or we'll have one of our associates there in the chat box get you taken care of. So with that, also you'll see down the bottom screen there is a subscribe button. Please hit that so we can keep you up to date with all the amazing notifications and live demos. And last but certainly not least, we've got one of our great friends and one of our great partners at OSG, my man Scott. Scott, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
Hey, it's a great day to do some tapping with some OSG tools, and we're excited to do so. So even though OSG is a large, not only, worldwide, but also focused on national brand, for those who may not be super familiar, can you tell us who is OSG and why are you so awesome?
Sure, no problem. Yeah, as you mentioned, we're a large company. OSG is the largest manufacturer of round cutting tools in the world. We specialize in taps, drills, and mills. We've been in business since 1938, and we really pride ourselves on quality and consistency.
There you go. I dig it. Spoken like a pro. So with that, what specific role do you serve at OSG?
Yeah, I've been with OSG for 20 years. I'm the Northwest Regional Manager. I've supported OSG over the past 20 years in Illinois, California, Washington, and now I reside in just outside of Portland, Oregon.
Right on, man, right on. Well, hey, it's always a pleasure to have anybody from OSG, but we appreciate you being the expert for today. So we're gonna get our demo started. The first thing we're gonna do is walk over to this bad boy behind me. We're gonna be doing some hydraulic tapping on our GHM-45. So we'll get something pulled up here. Now this here, it's not our biggest and baddest tapping arm that we do have, right? That would be its brother right here, the GHM-60. But with this, you're still gonna be able to have a significant amount of reach as well as the tapping power. And what we're going to do is we're going to be starting off at 1.5 inches. Now I know, Scott, we talked a little bit about this tap before, so if we can get a close-up, I want to hear your take on exactly what this tap is and tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, that's one of our A-taps. It's a premium tool. It's one of our latest and greatest. It has a lot of special geometry. It also has a premium substrate in VC10 material, which is similar to a T15, a powdered metal material, very consistent material. Also has one of our best tapping coatings on there, TICN coating. It's fully one, I'd say my favorite coating when it comes to tapping. There are other coatings that are great for milling and drilling, but this one particularly works really well in tapping. So it's great for, and we call it the A-tap because it's great for just a wide variety of materials. It's a great job shop type tool. So it's going to perform in just about any material you throw at it, give you at least a couple holes. We do have other tools that are more designed for exotics or something, that's really out of the ballpark, but this is just a great all-around job shop type tool.
Beautiful, beautiful. So while we get this bad boy going, Isaac, can you pull up that infographic on the GHM-45? As you see here, you're going to be rocking about 78 inches of reach. Now, when it comes to the power unit, you're going to be using a 480-volt hydraulic power pack. We can go from anywhere down to 50 all the way up to 500 RPMs, and we'll produce upwards of 325 foot-pounds of torque. So today, what we're going to do is we won't bring the camera around here to the back, but I'm going to set this bad boy into gear 1. As you know, it does have 2 separate gears here. The lower gear is what we're going to be utilizing to produce a little bit higher amount of torque for this 1.5 inches. So I'm going to get this validated in gear 1. I'm going to get this bad boy started. Good deal. Now we're going to be running downward as well as upward at 106 RPM. So let's get this bad boy roll here. First rule of tapping, aside from having the tap itself, always make sure we keep these taps lubricated. The FlexArm themselves, they do a great job of preventing tap breakage, but it's also super important to have them lubricated just to make sure you lower those odds significantly. So let's give it a quick run. As we notice, doesn't take a lot of the downward force. I'm gonna place it right over the top of the hole. Good deal. Drop this bad boy down. And what we're going to notice, that action right there, what happened was the clutch was engaging. So what happens is when we have these blind holes, another issue to prevent that tap breakage is the clutch will engage, allowing you, or I guess not allowing you, to go down any further. And then what we'll do is we'll just reverse it out. Simple as that, simple as that. And as you'll notice, especially with these taps, there is no need whatsoever for you to apply any type of downward force because the tap itself actually pulls it down. And can you talk a little bit, Scott, about how the tap works that specific way and doesn't require you to really pull that thing down, even at sizes up to 1.5 inches?
Yeah, the design of the tap, a spiral fluid tap, is it's going to want to try and feed itself into the hole. It's a really unique design, and it's designed specifically for blind holes. So it's the best of a lot of different worlds. It has a short chamfer, but it's going to bring the chips up towards the spindle, but then it's also going to self-feed itself into the bottom, of that hole.
There we go. Let's get a quick look here. Let me bring this out front just to see kind of the finished product of what we're looking at on this GHM-45. Get a step here. So good deal. And as you notice, nothing too crazy, but pretty solid, rather consistent. One of the many amazing things that happens when you put an OSG tool in a FlexArm tapping arm. So great. No, good example there. Good example. I'm going to set this bad boy down. Now we've got an opportunity to see what this hydraulic unit can do. Let's take a quick look over here and we'll transition over to our pneumatics. So while we get things ready here, I guess I'm curious. So even though 1.5 inches, Scott, that's a big tap. What other type of materials would you be able to use that type of tap in?
Yeah, I'm really impressed that you guys can use that arm in 1.5 inches. I've never seen anything like that. That's quite incredible. But yeah, that tool is really great in a wide variety. I mean, you could do mild steels, stainless steels, alloy steels, tool steels, you name it, up to about 40, 45 Rockwell is where that tool is going to exceed pretty well. And that's why I say it's great for job shops. It's also great in high production too, don't get me wrong, but it's great for the job shop that doesn't want to carry a million different tools for each type of material that they run into. You can feel very confident. You can just plug and play whatever material is that comes your way, and you're going to get a pretty significant, great quality holes, but significant tool life also.
Beautiful, beautiful, man. No, I love it. So as we transition, this is our A-32 Pneumatic Tapping Arms. So this is actually going to be our baseline and probably one of our more popular tapping arms. That being, you're going to have a 34-inch reach. You're going to be rocking anywhere from 90 to 120 PSI, and your standard motor is going to be 400 RPMs. There are additional options, in the 600 as well as 1,000 RPM option, but 9 times out of 10, this 400 RPM motor is going to be able to produce the exact amount of torque that you're going to be able to need to get that 28 foot-pounds of torque. So with that, also having a tap capacity of 9/16 in mild steel, which is what we're going to be tapping into today. So with this, I got a couple of my tap holders set up. The first thing we're going to do is we have a 3/8 block here. We're going to be doing some through holes, but just to show a little bit of versatility, we have a 3/8 Jacobs chuck here, and it actually has a chamfering tool on it. Now, you don't specifically need to use a chamfer tool per se. You can have a reaming, deburring tool, whatever it may be, and also for light drilling, emphasis on light. But what I'm going to do, because there are a lot of our customers who will chamfer that hole prior to tapping, so we're going to show how easy it is to take this simple chuck. We're going to pop it in here in the spindle. Got our air going. Now it's just a simple squeeze here to activate. And this is one of the few exceptions where it will require just a small amount of downward force, but when we're chamfering, I got a rule of thumb, you just give it a little bit of a kiss. You're not taking off a lot of material, but you're just trying to get that started. So just gonna pop it down. And you can imagine, if you have a high quantity amount of holes that you're gonna be chamfering and tapping, you can do it relatively quickly. So we're gonna go from the switch to the one size, gonna pop that 3/8 in there, good deal. Relatively easy. We'll make sure we lubricate again, and now we're just going to go over one of the holes that we just previously reamed. Pop the bad boy down, one-handed. Now what you're going to notice is a lot of people think, okay, well, it's easy to be able to bring this down. Now how do we get the tap to reverse out? So it's going to be a combination of you holding the accelerator, the handle, in tandem with our reversing button. So we're going to do the same operation one more time just for emphasis. So we're going to have our chamfering tool. We're going to pop it over here, get that bad boy in, chamfer a couple of holes, swap it out, just in a small matter of time with our tap holder. Got this here, pop it in, lubricate first, almost broke my own rule there. There we go. We'll do another one. Beautiful, beautiful. And then there's also a section, you see the clutch engaged just ever so slightly towards the bottom of that hole. We utilize a technique that we call essentially peck tapping, if you will. So it does allow you to really be able to finish that out without having to put too much tension in it. So with this, Scott, question for you. When it comes to, we talked a little bit about light drilling, how important is the drill in the tapping process?
That's a great question, Eddie. Actually, it's very important because what you want to do is you want to create a really good environment for the tap to succeed. Just by nature, a tap is a delicate tool compared to some of the other tools that are being used in the market. So you want to really create a great hole for when that tap goes in there. So using a high quality drill like an OSG is essential in maximizing tool life and making sure that you don't have any problems with the tool. You don't want to use an inexpensive drill because then what can happen is you can create an oblong hole or a tapered hole, which is going to make it really difficult for the tap. So make sure you use a high quality drill that's run at the proper parameters because you also don't want to work hard in that material too. So I think it's very essential that you make sure that you use a very high quality tool before you go into the tapping process.
No, right on, man. I got I got a question for you as well, a little pop quiz. Scott, can you tell me what this bad boy is right here?
That tapping arm that we don't sell? Yes, I've been asked a number of times over the past 20 years. I usually have to refer to them to one of our competitors to get those, because OSG unfortunately doesn't sell tapping arms like that. But yeah, we do still see them quite a bit, and hey, sometimes that's what, it fits the bill in some of those weird applications or large parts where you have to get in there and you can't use a CNC or a tapping arm for those occasions.
No, truly, we like to keep this around for nostalgia purposes, because believe it or not, there still are some customers who have high quantity of holes that they need to tap, and they're still doing it quite literally by hand. And so just being able to take one of these tapping arms and do it a lot faster provides a significant amount of convenience. So what we're going to be switching to next is the same situation that we did with the 3/8, but now we're just going to be moving to a quick switch over into a 1/4 inch. So same concept applies. We're still on the same tapping arm, popping in that 3/8 Jacob chuck with that little chamfering tool. Just going hole to hole to hole in a short amount of time, being able to quickly change to our 1/4 inch. This pad over here, make sure we lubricate. Now we do have automatic lubrication systems available on these specific units, but just for example purposes, we just want to make sure we use the old dip method. So here we go. There we go. All right. Wonderful, wonderful. Now, as you can see, solid examples of those pneumatic arms just running through. And also from this point, another good selling point or a focus of these arms is to be able to have the weightlessness, if you will. You don't want to be able to take this tool off and to really have to push down yourself. So we can actually use this adjustment here. And I got grease all over my hands, so it may not work the greatest. Well, nonetheless, you're able to loosen this up and then actually move this weight and adjust it accordingly to have the desired weight that you would see. So we've got these set up, and then what we're going to do is, now we've done these two vertical, we're going to switch back over to the hydraulic, go on the GHM-45, and we're going to be doing some horizontal tapping. So let's come on over here, man. All right. So what we've done, let's get a little closer look at the arm here. So same arm, just a slightly different orientation. So as you'll notice, if I can get a decent look at it, might be a weird angle here, but what we've done is we've changed the orientation. So there's a bolt that resides here, and then on the side that allows you to adjust the specific axis that you would so choose. Now, you're not just limited to strictly vertical or strictly horizontal. You can use what we call one of our magnetic alignment plugs to be able to loosen either axis and then put it up against the specific surface that you're trying to tap to be able to maintain that perpendicularity, because that truly is one of the biggest and best features of these tapping arms, is to be able to, one, be able to produce the torque to tap these holes, but guarantee that perpendicularity. So in this specific section, we're going to do the same exact thing. We're not changing RPMs because, again, it is the same type of material, same sizing. So we're going to get this bad boy started. We're going to get it validated here. Get her started. Wonderful. Make sure we get our lubrication on there. All right, these are always so much fun, so much fun. All right, here we go. Let's get it here. We got that. One moment. Get this bad boy lined up. All right. Same situation applies as we were doing the vertical tapping. The clutch engages when you get to the bottom of the hole and allows you just to simply reverse it out as smooth as you did prior to. Wonderful, wonderful. Very important as well, after you're done using these arms, I always highly recommend, if you are not using, to make sure you lock this up so it doesn't take any type of move on you here. And then let's take this bad boy out. And then while I'm pulling this up, Scott, so what are some other cutting tools that you feel you'd like to feature here and talk to the audience about?
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that question, because, I think a lot of times we get handcuffed to being the tapping guys, because OSG is the largest manufacturer of taps in the world. So that's what people mostly think of us. But we have great quality drills. We have end mills. We actually are the largest end mill manufacturer in the world as well. We have a full line of indexable products called our Phoenix line, which has, the indexable inserts as well as some of the screw-on tip drills and end mills. We have a full array of tools for composite type materials. So That's kind of my background with OSG is that these drills, mills, and router bits and that for composite materials with it's a patented diamond coating that we have, I think is just, a great selection of tools that I, wish that everyone was aware of. So thank you for that question. I really appreciate it, Andy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You guys have a lot of amazing products. I know you're really well known for your cutting tools, but you got a lot of cool stuff going on. So we just got done, obviously, doing the horizontal tapping on this monster. So let's translate over to our pneumatic unit. We're going to do the same exact thing. So as you can see here, before we get started, we'll talk, and thank you for whoever had dry hands who changed this counterweight. Thank you so much for that. So with this here, as you notice, a little bit different of a setup here. I can still rotate, but our orientation is completely different. So aside or indifferently from what you'll notice on the hydraulic units, with this pneumatic, it actually has a specific adapter that does allow you. Now, it does take some installation where you have to loosen the motor mount, but it doesn't take a significant amount of time, especially if you need to quickly switch from one to the other. But in the event where you need to get an angle that's a little different from your straight 90, if you will, we do have a pneumatic tapping arm that allows you to hit all those other angles that this may not be getting for you. But I will say this is a very popular accessory for our A-32 tapping arm. So with that, let me get this bad boy lubed up a little bit. Here we go. We're gonna do it the old-fashioned way. All right, good deal, good deal. Okay, and the same rules apply for when you're engaging. Just going in straight. Here we go. And we do have the dead handle, and I know, like we said before, it doesn't take a lot of that downward force because the tap typically does it, but just to make sure things are lined up on a horizontal plane, I always make sure to have it at least as much control as I can. So here we go. There we go. Simple as that, right through. I mean, pretty clean holes for the most part. I know we didn't chamfer per se, but just giving you the idea that whether it is the horizontal, whether it's the vertical, we're able to tackle it with not only our hydraulic, but our pneumatic tapping arms. So I know we've done a quick example of both, and I'm kind of curious. We've seen 1.5 inches today, which is obviously pretty gnarly, but Scott, what's the biggest, baddest, and most gnarly tap that you've seen out of OSG? Well, hey, Scott, I'm having a little hard time hearing you, man. If you don't mind, I want to double check that mic to make sure we can. I feel like you were saying some really awesome things. I just want to make sure that we got to hear you. Good deal. Is there a way we can turn it up on our end, Isaac? No worries, man. So with that, while we're getting some things figured out, Scott, you want to just tinker with that for a second, see if we can get that audio back. Isaac, do we have any general questions that we might be able to pull up? Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, no, cool. Well, with that, I mean, I said, no, we've done a general demo going from, again, our vertical on the pneumatic, switching over, having the vertical on the hydraulic as well, then showing both orientations from that horizontal perspective. I mean, it's been a pretty solid situation. And do we have Scott back on the line?
Can you guys hear me?
There we go, Scott, I can hear you now, man.
Okay, great. Yeah, sorry about that. Not sure what happened, but I did want to tell you that, the 32 millimeter taps, and even we can make some customs up and larger, but we use them for like oil field industry and the wind turbines. That very large taps and threading for those particular products and industries are very common. So we either use our thread mills, or we do have taps up in exceeding 32 millimeters. We can make customs even larger than that. So hopefully you can hear me a little better, and not sure what happened there, but hey,
No, I
Here we
can
are.
hear you, man. I can hear it. I'm
Live.
glad, because just in time, because I want to ask you a couple of general questions, kind of that that I was just generally curious about. So with that, I know a lot of viewers watching, we get a lot of that West Coast. So when it comes to the West Coast, you're California, you're Washington, Oregon, what are some of the bigger industries that you serve?
Well, we do serve everything from automotive, the die mold industry, medical and aerospace, and typically what you do see on here on the West Coast is aerospace, defense, medical, a little bit of pockets of die mold, some construction equipment. So really anytime when it comes to manufacturing, we're involved. There's not anything, but again, predominantly on the West Coast, what you're going to see is the aerospace, the medical, and the a little bit of everything else from custom automotive, you name it. We see it all, and that's so we're not a lot of the materials do cross over, say medical and aerospace, like a titanium 6AL4V, some based alloys, a lot of defense contractors. So yeah, we see it all, and really we're not afraid to take on any different industry, communication industry, electrical industry, construction, you name it. We really have our foot just about all the different types of industries, not even just what's located here on the West Coast.
No, very nice, man. So with that, I know we talked a little bit about the high pro taps and the A taps, and I know we've got a set here. We'll get a quick close-up on it. So can you tell us a little bit about the differences between those high pros and then those brand A taps that we looked into?
Yeah, the A-tap is kind of the latest and greatest. It really does a combination of geometry, substrates, and coatings, whereas the high pro is that's kind of what put us on the map. It's still our biggest selling series. It's older. It's more cost effective, maybe as far as when you look at the initial price of the tap. The coatings in that are maybe a little older, but still our biggest selling series. And then the A-tap is graduated. So we went from like high pro to EXO, and now A-tap. So you can see as the tools graduate and become more specific too. The EXO taps kind of branched off into tools for stainless steel or tools for exotics. So it's really a wide array of tools, and it kind of really depends on what you're looking for when it comes to a tap. But High Pro was, when I first started OSG, that was our main tap. That was a great plug-and-play tool. You could put it in there, and it was going to perform in any material. And so does the A-tap, but it really is concentrated on better materials, better geometries, better substrates. So it's a wide array, and really just what you need.
Man, I love bringing you OSG guys on, because I swear you guys know so much, and I think it's clear why you all are just industry leaders. So with that, what other top threading products do you have at OSG that you feel the world needs to know about?
Well, I think I mentioned it earlier, is that I think we are kind of handcuffed to the threading world, and that's great, but we do a lot of taps definitely, and then thread mills too. I don't think a lot of people have tried our thread mills. We have solid carbide thread mills that are great, on a wide variety of materials. You can take that thread mill and you can stick it in mild steel, turn around, and then you can put it in an application that is Inconel 718, which is one of the more nasty materials we do see out there. So I think those are great, coupled with our drills and our injectable line and the composite tools. I really feel like we're, a really large manufacturer that has just about something for everybody when it comes to needing tools for, small applications.
No, lovely, man, lovely. And I'm sure there's obviously a lot of information out there to be obtained by those who are seeking it. So where can someone find more info about OSG?
Yeah, you can definitely go to our website. It's www.osgtool.com, or you can call the main line number, which is 1-800-837-2223. And if you ever need to get a hold of me in the Northwest, I can be reached at area code 630-699-6857. Be happy to take the call anytime.
Yeah, well, if you don't know, now you know. Well, that's awesome. Well, Scott, seriously, true expert. You're truly passionate about what you do, and that's exactly why we do these demonstrations and bring people like you on. So we thank you so much. And is there anything else you'd like to say to the audience before we wrap things up?
No, I appreciate your time, and please get in touch if you guys ever have any questions, and we can always have a technical advisor come out to see you.
There you go. We love it. You know how to get a hold of everybody at OSG, some of the top tap producers and other cutting tools in the world. So again, we thank you all so much, either viewing in, and Scott, thanks for attending this. It's been fantastic. Make sure you all hit that subscribe button. You hit the notification so we can keep you up to date with all the live streams that we have, and give us what my daughters would say is a huge thumbs up. We greatly appreciate it. Also check out our YouTube page. We have a mass amount of amazing videos, and you can see us on all the socials, and we'd love to connect with you in any way possible. But until next time, you all stay awesome, stay flexing, and we will see you next time.